That's good. Today we are going to have the presentations of all the solutions that went through the Climate Solutions Lab. As I imagine you all are aware, we will have 11 presentations, and we are still waiting for some of the participants. I will drop the link in the chat for you to be able to see the solutions that went through this this cohort of this year. And I would just pass to Phumlani, and thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure for us to have you all. Also, we have some entities, partners from Impulsouth. Thank you, Eric, for being here. And also, I see that Bruce is here, and Alejandro. Thank you so much for being here. I will let Phumlani just say a few words, and then we can start.
Yeah, just maybe because I'm seeing Eric here, so I wonder if Eric is not the right person. Just to say a few words to observe protocol, and just because when you get to the tail end of things, it's always good to go back to the intentions and what was needed. So if it's okay, leadership, Eric, for me to put you on the spot to say a few words, it could be very good for people.
So many thanks, Phumlani. And it's a pleasure to see you all. So in comparison to the first cohort, I think we did not have so much time to exchange with this cohort, but I was following more or less through the mail and what you are doing, which is very, very exciting. We had a very great first cohort of graduate with a very good solution. Some of them are still continuing to be implemented. So I'm very, very looking forward to what you will present today. So the spirit of the program has been always to provide a frame, allowing you to propose concrete solution. So to address the climate, the climate action sphere. So, and we hope that from the organization that also after this presentation that you will still continue with the implementation of the solution. So after this incubation process, that you will still continue with the incubation of your solution, and you can also still rely on our support and our help. So I couldn't miss this opportunity, at least to hear your different pitches, so to get a better feeling and also to see how far we can connect from our end at the UNU, the different solution that you have with some of our ecosystem actors, at least to support you throughout your journey. So yeah, I think that is what I can say from more or less from the admin. So Natalia is also here representing Avina, so I'm more representing UNU, and yeah, I will hand over to Phumlani, and yeah, wish you a successful pitch and looking forward to your presentation.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. Is Paula here, Natalia, or not? Okay. If Paula is not here, then it's good. So I represent I guess the implementation side of the grand vision that UNU and Impulsouth represents or head. I'm more the implementing side of that vision. And from on the this idea of holding the space and holding you guys accountable, in particular for the process. In other words, just making sure that we're going through the journey and that the solutions are promising enough, making sure there's some quality assurance in the process. And we've been walking a journey in the last couple of months, 5-6 months, plus minus, if we exclude the academic components. And what we did, just for context and for our guests, I'm not going to do a presentation because you're going to have so many presentations today. So it's best if I narrate. So what we did was we had a process of what we call pre-incubation, where we started pruning ideas before the formal process of incubation. So what that meant was starting to intervene at the level that UNU was implementing the curriculum, the hard sciences, and we started working with this group to challenge them to quickly think outside theories and start thinking problems, and very quickly also started challenging them to think about solutions. And that set us up for a pre-screening, so to speak, which we called a pitch event. This is called a demo day. That was called a pitch event, where the innovators in this room were able to present ideas that we felt needed more support and were promising in line with SDGs and all the mission of this climate change action. And we then had a process after that. So the first thing we did was what we call customer discovery, which is essentially where we then said, well, all you've done now is think of a problem and a high-level idea, but do we really know, and have we validated whether that problem is affecting people or not? And so they spent the first month basically engaging with the potential stakeholders, those in policy, and potential customers, those pursuing commercial solutions. We then cleaned that up and harvested all of that, and then basically went through a process of innovating from the notes and the exercises that they did with stakeholders. And a bunch of the group here changed their ideas completely after that process, and still sticking with the same problem domain, but they changed their ideas. And then the last thing, in the last month or two, what we've been doing is to then say, well, knowing what you know now, how could you think of a venture? So now start thinking outside yourself, start thinking big. What could implementation of all of this look like? So what we're expecting today are ideas that have gone through the refining fire, ideas that have been well thought out, including how the commercialization or sustainability of them would look like. We're expecting ideas that will say something about the teams, the nature of support that people are looking for. And we expect people to tell us how much more support, financial or otherwise, that they're looking for now going forward. We're expecting people to still tell us the problem, but also more importantly, how they've validated the solutions and the ideas that they have. And more importantly, how the next couple of months, maybe 6 months or so, looks like in terms of scaling and taking this project forward. So that's probably enough from a process or intervention point of view. And I'll hand over to you, Natalia. Thank you very much, and congratulations for being here, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Pulani. Just in terms of procedure, I will be holding the timer, the 5 minutes for you, and then I will just raise my hands when you have 1 minute left, okay? And I will share your presentations. If you haven't sent me, I will give you the permission to do that. So with no further delays, Luz, if you're ready, we can go.
Yes, I'm ready. Just to make sure we have 5 minutes, right?
Yes. I don't know if it's my internet. Can you see the screen?
It's delaying a bit for me, but I think I see it. Do you hear me well, everyone? Because I'm with the mic on my ear, so I'm just verifying.
I can hear you. Yeah. Okay. So I will start there.
Okay, well, let's start then. Okay, imagine a world where we can have the power accurately to have and understand the impact of climate change in our environment, where we can identify key areas for conservation and sustainable resource management with precision. This is the world our project aims to be. Next one, please, Natalia. To the title, because I don't see it. Okay, my project, Economic Valuation of the Ecosystem Service of Carbon Sequestration in Guatemala, using geographic information, aims to do that. Well, utilizing geographic information systems or GIS technology, we can do a lot of things, but mostly I want to present to you the problem a little bit that we have here in Guatemala. Well, the problem is that Guatemala has not been immune to the effects of deforestation. We have lost 22% of the forest in the last 20 years. And also Guatemala has not established a well public carbon market and doesn't have like a lot of projects or, well, a lot of like innovation regarding their national determined contribution that wants to reduce some emissions here in Guatemala. So that's one of the main problems that I focus before implementing the solution. Next one, please. Well, as we know, carbon sequestration is the process with carbon dioxide is removed from the atmosphere, and HIS can help us quantify how forests can reduce these emissions from the atmosphere. So with HIS, I plan to do some reductions or some evaluation of a forest and evaluate the contribution of these areas to the national emission reductions. And also I wanted to have like this monetary evaluation to demonstrate the opportunities and to apply as a country to more climate finance and demonstrate more of the biological importance of carbon sequestration here in our country. Next one, please. Our approach involves collecting field data through comprehensive forest inventories and combining with remote sensing data such as satellite imagery and aerial photography to map carbons and land cover change over time. Uses these HIS analysis technologies, we then assess the spatial distribution of carbon sequestration services and model their economic value based on market dynamics and environmental benefits. Next one, please. So this is one of the results that I have already. Here we can see some of the studios. The previous studio that I have here in Guatemala is like a reserve that we have. And this is my projections done with HIS. Next one. And all that map then we can have some tables. And this is the table and the monetary value that we have at the end between the area of the study. For now, I have like projected more than $1 million that is in the reserve and well, the preliminary use of my project. Next one. So, well, I wanted also to talk about the journey of the implementation. I want to talk a little bit of lessons I learned from talking to the stakeholders, the areas of success and areas of challenge that I have in front. Next one. So First, lessons learned is, well, I have a little problem using relatable data and assumptions because not all information in my country is available for everyone. Also, identifying
Let me finish this one. I'm
clarifying
going to shout.
vision and objectives has been really difficult because I have changed the objectives or what I want to do to scale it up with the time. And also, well, building collaborative relationships is not that easy. Mainly with the government and all the stuff that we have here in my country. Next one. But I have a lot of good things. I have an acceptance of presentation for the National Congress of Climate Change in Guatemala next week. And this is the email that they sent me that they accept my contribution and my presentation. Next one. Also, I was able to present my project, and that time I didn't know, to the Minister of Ambience here in Guatemala this year, and also the Vice Minister. So that was a good thing because they already know my project, they already know me, and I'm in conversations with them to, well, collaborate up and to them to help me and help them to do something more with my project if they want to. Next one. Also, I have a meeting already in January with them, the National Resources and his team, and also with another institutions and stakeholders I wanted to talk. That is INAF. That is an institution that takes forestry here in Guatemala, and I have the privilege to know the little team, and I have a little conversation and exchange emails and also phones. So we can talk about more about the project and what we can do next. Next one, please. Well, areas of uncertainty and challenges. Well, the data availability sometimes is challenging because they have told me they have more information at the Minister of Resources. So I wanted to have that information available to assess my project. Also, the resource constraints, because I'm limited with resources, that is human resources, and, well, interdisciplinary collaborations. Next one. And that's, I think that's the end. I have no time left. Yeah.
Thank you, Luz. Poonlani, I don't know if you want to step in, do some comment. Okay, Eric, you can go ahead.
Many thanks, Rosario, for the great presentation. So, and also practical oriented, very useful. And it's also good to see that you have initiated some conversation with potential off-taker of your solution. The question will be more on the sustainability of what you want to do. What is the form of will that be an association? Will that be a startup? Will that be, in which form will you want to follow up your ideas? So
thank you for your question. For now, I'm thinking of having like an association or maybe like a financial team, like a little team that has a relationship with the ministry and other stakeholders. And with them work maybe like 3 people. That's where we have been talking with them, the stakeholders, that we can manage to do this project and do this in another area, because I have just one area done, a little area. So I wanted to be more concise with my project and have it done like that the things that I have, the monetary value that I have and the carbon that I have with his is the real value of the forest, right? Because it's just by ex situ problem doing, not in situ. And I want to verify that it's not overvaluating or undervaluating the carbon that we have in the forest. So for now, it's like an association, maybe with more years or more time, and also with more finance. An NGO here in Guatemala that uses this as a reinforcement also in some communities here, and help bring private private sector also, because here private sector we have a lot. It's not only public, but I want to combine both things.
Thank you.
We have 1 minute for one more reaction if someone has it. Just to remind also that in the end of the session, we will have a space also for reactions. Well, if not, I would just pass to the next one. Thank you, Luz. Milady, are you there? Can you hear us well?
Hi. Hi
Yes.
there. Yes, I can
Perfect.
hear you guys well. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Just for the sake of the procedure again, while I'm sharing the screen, I'm not able to raise my hand, I guess. I didn't find it. So I would just tell you in the private chat when you have 1 minute left, okay?
Okay, it sounds perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so when you're
Okay.
ready.
I'm ready. Okay. Sorry. Okay, next. Hi, my name is Milady Stephanie Cornejo Raza, and I am presenting to you this day with the local model of forest restoration based on climate information in the dry corridor of Guatemala. I'm working this project with the Green Development Association of Guatemala, Aso Verde. Next. So the problem, our main problem here in our country is the loss of forest cover and change of land use. The soils currently in the country are being used for agricultural purposes in changed from forest to produce like corn and bean. This is happening in the majority of areas in the dry corridor, especially in the rural communities. Our landscape analysis is that reforestation is not possible if the soil is degraded and there is no water availability in the rural communities where we would like to work. Next. The impact that we hope to get with this local model is that first of all, the recovery of forest cover in degradable soils, because it would be great if we could reforest lands that are degraded and that usually won't be useful for productivity. Also, the improvement of water availability in the communities will be available for 18 families. The market that we hope with this local model is focused more on private landowners, such as municipalities, community organizations, and also with cooperativas like ONGs. Next, please. Okay. The community, while we were doing investigations or with the stock market, the community needs availability of energy sources and also job creation. What I mean with this is that energy sources is going to be by having, let's say, the forest. How can I explain it? While we have trees, and on certain time, let's say in 5 years, we're gonna be able to like cut down some of the trees to be able to give them like I forgot the word, energy sources for fire and being able to cook, and also job creation. Because the community can be helping us in management of the forest and also with the water captivity. Next, please. So Right now, we have a prospect of 40% of the project that has been done because we have already implemented or planted some of the trees that have been growing significantly right now. And also we've been doing some land clearing and land management for the trees to be able to grow. Next, please. Okay, so the solution is that the demonstrative implementation of the local restoration model will be generating employment and opportunities for families in the community. Also, during the implementation of the solution, like a dry run, we've been helping some of the community teenagers have been helping us with the land management. Also, the access to water availability during the dry season for the community is going to be a very good solution. Next, please. Okay, so the team is based on 5 principal people. The coordinator of the association is David Horacio. The agronomist monitoring and evaluation is Reinaldo Jose Marroquin. The financial administrator that's going to be taking care of all the financial is Alex Randolfo Casasola. My person as the project coordinator, and we also have a forest engineer that's going to be the forestry specialist. Next, please. So the project funding is calculated in $50,000, which we divided in land clearing, that's going to be around like 1,500, plot fencing, that's going to be calculated in like 3,000, plantation establishment. Okay, can I finish up quickly? It's going to be about 17,000. The water harvesting is around 7,000 to 8,000. The irrigation system is between 5,000. The operation and technical assistance is going to be around $8,000. Next. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lady. We have time for one intervention. If someone has a comment, a mentor, or other than the audience. If not, just to remind that you can note down your questions and we will have this space also in the end of the presentations. Can you hear me well? Yes?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Milady.
Yeah. Thank you.
We are going to pass now to Mirana. I think you're going to.
Yes, hello everybody.
Yeah, okay. I will just share with you.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen, please.
Yeah. Please tell me if you can. Yes. Okay. Perfect. I will tell you when you have 1 minute left, and you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Hello everyone. My name is Milena Elodie Alkoutmadi from Madagascar, and I am going to introduce you to my vermicomposting project. So in the course of my journey in climate change mitigation, I had the opportunity to communicate closely with farmers who were using chemical fertilizers for their activities. They noticed after a few years that the production is shrinking, and they were craving for a solution that will allow them to produce more. This is where the vermicomposting project is coming. But how does vermicomposting work? Well, It is the process of transforming organic waste and agricultural residues into compost with the help of earthworms, which are Eisenia fetida and Eisenia andreae. The product is really rich and it helps the soil to improve the production. It is also acting as insect remediation, and it helps to reduce the organic waste discarded. Research has revealed that the rice fields in Madagascar that are using vermicompost are producing more than twice the normal production. One earthworm can consume the equivalent of weight in one day, and they can produce 30% of vermicompost of their food. Their number can double in 2 to 3 months. As we know, Madagascar population is composed of around 80% of people working in agricultural sectors, 500,000 of which are in Analamanga region. And if we are targeting 5,000 of them, consuming around 10 kilograms of vermicompost per year, the actual need is 50 tons of vermicompost per year. But our current production will allow us to produce around 1 ton per month of vermicompost, which is far away from the actual need. We are planning to sell the vermicompost at 2,500 ariary per kilogram and 2 million ariary per ton. There are also other sources of revenues that are the composting and the earthworm selling. This is our business team. But to scale up our project and our production, we need to expand it by offering more jobs. We also need to expand the composting site. The budget needed for this expansion is around $25,000. That will allow the employees training, the construction of a far larger composting site, and also the acquisition of materials and worms. And finally, to attain our targeted sale, the marketing strategies is also to be improved. So if you want to be part of this project and help Madagascar to attain self-sufficiency in food, then we ask you to support this project by financing the budget needed to scale it up. Thank you so much for your attention, and a special thanks for all the teams, especially to Fumlani and Gaston, and my mentor, Mafer, for their support, for valuable assistance and guidance for all the session, and you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have time for one intervention, if someone has questions.
Many thanks, Elulia, for the great presentation. So it was very, very good. Maybe one question at my end. How far the, because 25 is still, what do you have already from the 20? What are the next? Because it's from the incubation phases until what you have presented.
Yes.
I have the feeling there's a big gap, more or less, to reach to continue your activity. So what is the strategy? So with the 25,000, so yeah, what is the plan? So on the midterm, at least, to continue working, because the amount is also quite high.
Yes. So our plan is to continue working on the existing fund, and we have done the test, and we have studied how many how much time does it take to transform the compost into the compost, and how long does it take for the worms to reproduce? So we are going to work on all the available funded to expand, to multiply the worms that we have, and they can lay eggs and multiply themselves, and we can expand our production that way, firstly.
But practically, where will you apply for other funding? Where practically, what are the next steps to mobilize this, to this amount? So it's a bit.
Yes, we are planning to apply for other co-founder to introduce the project to potential funder, and we will also ask them to support project. And also we are also introducing our own funding in the project as well.
Okay. There are some platforms like VC4A, Venture Capital for Africa. There are some of our partners. You may also showcase your startup and need for funding on the VC4A. Let me type it, vc4a.com, I think. And there is also the Youth Adapt program at the African Development Bank. They give up to 100,000 for innovators every year. So I will also send maybe a mail. You can also check the application for the call is, I think they had a call for application. They have a call every year, but next year maybe. So normally, because our project, the output of our project is a good input for this bigger grant at the African Development Bank. So I will send you the both, but I will recommend you definitely to keep on the homepage of VC4A, and then to look also on all while working, doing this competition, pitching. So this ecosystem where you can present your solution, sometimes you may also have some additional funding. And next year to apply to the Youth Adapt program at the African Development Bank.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Just thank you, Elodia, also. Just to encourage also all the participants, if you have questions, you can drop in the chat. You can do it later, or you can just make interventions once the presentations are over. I will call now Akufuna. Let's just check if he has actually so well.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. Can you just test your micro? Just
Hello?
yeah, perfect.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. I'll just I'm sharing. So you can start when you're ready.
Okay, we can go to the next slide. So my name is Funa Myunda, a climate leader, founder for the Young Volunteers for the Environment in Zambia. Yeah, and next slide. So according to the World Food Program, there are 1.5 million smallholder farmers in Zambia who are responsible to producing food for about 80% of Zambia's food basket. And yet these are vulnerable to the climate shocks and experiencing difficulty to maximize their productivity livelihoods. This is why Nature Up comes in to try and promote sustainable agriculture practices, and also with the aim to increase farmers' resilience to climate change. Next slide. So there are 4 problem areas that we focus on. Number one is the limited access to modern farming practices and information by smallholder farmers in Zambia. Number two is unpredictable weather due to climate change. Number three is the difficulties most of these smallholder farmers find in identifying and controlling pests and diseases, also exacerbated by climate change, which consequently changes the habitats, bringing about more and new pests. And then the last one is inadequate access to services. According to the Minister of Agriculture in Zambia, the agriculture extension to farmer ratio is 1 extension officer to 2,000 farmers, which is far, far above the recommended by Food Agriculture Organization, which is 1 to 400. Next slide. So to validate our problem area of focus and also the validity of our solution, we engaged smallholder farmers through a survey and others through in-person meetings. And this is what they were saying. What is assuring is most of them were very excited and supportive of the initiative we put in place, with great recommendations on the right there, where they've mentioned emphatically the need to have weather forecast, pest alerts, crop management, and financial planning as part of our solutions. And others emphasize the need to ensure access to agriculture credit or loans, and also others expressed the desire to also have Nature App focus on, ensuring security measures are put in place so that the information is secured and they can freely engage and participate, and the desire that we should reach out to the very remote areas across the country itself. So these are some of the recommendations that we're working on, and as we scale up the idea going forward, we'll be able to incorporate most of these, especially the farmer wallet feature that is not yet on the app. Next slide. So here, these are the outcome features that really came out strong through the surveys. And Nature App in this prototype phase will be able to have the weather updates, functionality, pest and disease prediction, and we want to leverage AI to do this, and also crop management guidance, which also be done through consultancies where farmers can actually search for the right, qualified agronomist or aquaculturist, whatever they want to find via the app, and then be able to be connected through that arrangement. But also there'll be a function where they will be able to communicate, share knowledge and experience between each other in the community engagement functionality for the app. Next. So to also validate whether or not our solution is not repetitive of what others have already done in the past, we did a competitive analysis of what other apps were or are there out on the market. So we came across AgriPredict, ZamAgri, mFarm, and FarmCloudy. And again, all the four couldn't really compete with Nature App because they have some limitation to address most of these key functionalities and features that were expressed by the smallholder farmers that we engaged. And also most of them are more focused on connecting buyer to supplier of farming products than providing a service that capacity build the farmer themselves. Next slide. So in terms of market size, we are looking at the 1.5 smallholder farmers in Zambia, but of course the idea and the solution itself is able to be scalable to other parts of the region, including the SADC and Sub-Saharan Africa in general, because climate change affects them all. Next slide. So we hope to raise money through the business model that will have subscription fees, in-app purchases, data monetization, and partnerships. Next slide. And to do this, we're asking for 150,000 kwacha investment, and 18.9% of this will go to business development as we continue to iterate with our customers. We'll continue to develop our app, and then we need 28.3% of the budget to go to that human resource, operations, and marketing, which is also very critical. Next slide. So in terms of projections, we aim to reach out and have about 90K users by third year. And that is the financial projection, which shows that we'll be able to be profitable. Of course, the year zero, we'll have to spend more in marketing the app and engage in partnerships to support the development process. Next slide. So we so far have buy-in from smallholder farmers. We have strategic partnership like NadiPay, which has a payment functionalities through PayGo, We have Kajina Enterprise that are coming as expertise in the subject, Catalyst 2030, where we can go to and also be able to find networks to showcase our idea. Last slide. This is our team. And the next slide. Which is the last one. So NHR app will be able to contribute to the global SDGs 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 13, 15, and 17. As is actually a very strategic innovation. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Akufuna. We have time for one intervention. Sorry, I don't know if it's me. Yes, we cannot hear well. I will let Filipa go and then.
Thank you, Natalia. First of all, just congratulations to Akufuna and his innovation. I think looking at the Zambian market and the challenges the smallholder farmers go through, this is one great innovation. My concern is most of our smallholder farmers, rural farmers. So firstly, they won't have access to really like smart phones. So I know you did your survey and you engaged with the farmers, but I'm just wondering if your target market will really be able to engage and know how to use the app. And secondly, let's say maybe you do your capacity building, although I didn't hear you mention it, to say how do you actually get these farmers, to know how to go about with the app. Are you thinking of maybe also having your app in local languages, depending on our 72 languages we have here and where you are targeting to launch your app, which you said is the whole country? Are you also considering maybe having the map in local languages to help with the use of the app and understanding? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Filipa, for the I think great questions. So I didn't mention about it, but what we are also considering in the first phase is the possibility of the USSD functionality. I didn't touch on it because we are still doing some research to find out what that will cost and it look like. Otherwise, that's a consideration for those with feature phones, so that they can access the basic services via USSD. But also in terms of language, I mentioned partnership there, and through partnerships like Kajina Enterprise, where we actually already now we do conduct trainings and reach out to farmers in their remote areas. We hope that through such kind of engagement, we can also be able to facilitate the adoption of the use of this app, and also in the language that they understand. So for the consultancy services, for example, a farmer can be able to search for an expert or an extension officer of their choice based on the language. So there'll be filters on the app and you can filter by language, but that also may come in phase 2 because of the cost that may be associated with that. But in terms of the vision, we hope to be able to cover that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Muyunda. Thank you, Filipa, for this exchange. Hi, guys. Just saying quick hello here. My name is Gaston Kramer. I'm talking from Brazil. I work in transforming technologies and an NGO that fosters science, technology, and innovation for social impact. And here in the Climate Solutions Lab from Impulsouth, I have the joy to be and the privilege to be the co-coordinator alongside my dear friend, Professor Pumlani. Sorry, my delay, but I'm very glad to be here. I watched the last two presentations, and now without further ado, I want to call my friend from Madagascar, the marvelous Niaro. Please come ahead.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see the screen? Okay.
Yeah, we can see it. Not in present. Now we're good.
Okay,
Please
thank you.
go ahead.
When we speak of Madagascar, we speak of its endless landscapes, biodiversity, and wealth. Praises never cease for how majestic Madagascar is and for how welcoming its people are. However, beyond its idyllic exterior lies a harsh reality, particularly in its urban centers caused by waste. Every day, a staggering 100 tons of waste, with a daunting 80% being organic, clog our streets and pose threats to both public health, environmental stability, and economic growth. Overflowing dump sites stand as a grim testament for this crisis, while poverty and environmental degradation continue to afflict our communities.
But what if we had a nature-based solution amidst the sea of waste? What if, as Einstein famously stated, nothing is lost, everything transforms? Enter the black soda fly, or BSF, the humble yet remarkable insect that holds the key to revolutionizing waste management and regenerate food systems for animals. Indeed, imported feed are more expensive, but always available all year round. Artisanal feeds are indeed cheaper, but the availability, the quality, and the quantity depends on the season. With our protein powder, BSF can help to increase food security by providing a reliable source of protein that is not affected by climate change or other external factors through indoor-outdoor breeding. Collaborating with two prominent restaurants in the capital, we've begun collecting organic waste and processed 100 kilos of organic waste over 1 month. The next step is to improve the BSF breeding before scaling up. Our goals for this year is to process 300 tons of organic waste compared to annual waste volume of 250,000 tons. Nevertheless, this 300-ton output will yield over 100 tons of compost and 200 tons of protein flour. Initially, we started this project with our own saving as a bootstrapping to retain full control of the venture. We have 3 minimum viable products. We already have 3 potential customers who want over 70 tons a year. In creating this project, I brought my sister on board, who holds a degree in electronics. I'm responsible for the technical aspects, while she is in charge of the technology component. We are in need of a technical assistant to help us increase production. To attain this goal, we need $30,000. By investing into this biotechnological project, you have the opportunity to invest in an innovative venture. I'm sorry, I had a load shedding.
Yes, I lost here the connection.
Continue or I?
Yes, please continue from where you
Okay,
stopped.
I'm so sorry for the over participant. Okay, so as I say, by investing into our project, you contribute to offers a cost-effective and environmentally conscious solution, reducing reliance on expensive imported feeds while simultaneously address waste transform waste into opportunity. Together, we can pave the way for a brighter, more sustainable future for Madagascar. Thank you.
Congratulations, Nyaro. If someone has a
Thank
present
you.
comment or question for Nyaro.
Maybe one quick question, Yao. Congratulations for the great presentation. So this approach has been addressed by many other actors in the continent, and one of the mentor of this project, Mao, has also in Uganda. He's based in South Africa, but also have a big plan. How far are you building on what already exists or cooperating on with other actors and so on? Can you imagine Mao is in this area since almost 3 years, so he may have some other tips, some other experiences. So the process is more or less already used in many other contexts. How far are you capitalizing on the experiences of other?
Yes, you're right. In the continent, in the African continent, it's very popular, but in Madagascar, it's not that much. So there's just 3 big industries that working on BSF, and the maximum of organic waste they can process is actually 200 tons per year. So it's not that much compared to the waste here in the capital. So it's still very popular. It's still a new product here in Madagascar. It's still a new project. But if we talk with some friends in the continent, it's true that we have many experiences there, and that's the basis of our project. We actually talk with some producer around the world, and they give us some feedbacks to improve our project.
I think for almost all of you, I've sent 2 links to showcase your project on the VC4A platform, and also to keep an eyes on the Youth Adapt Africa challenges of the African Development Bank if you want to upscale. So the aim of this project was to incubate, to make a kind of viable product, but when it comes to scale up, so at least you have to look from other alternative, and there are 2 links there which could be relevant for all of you, just to keep an eyes on this program, and we will also keep you posted. We have a WhatsApp group with the old cohort. I think we will mix both cohort, so that when there are opportunities, call, so we will also share that with you.
Yeah, thank you. That will be very great.
Thank you, dear Eric. Thank you, Nyaro. Congratulations. Now we're moving forward to my friend Nomai. I'm gonna share the presentation here for you. Nomai, are you there?
Hi, Gaston. Yes, I am.
Oh, great. Please go ahead whenever you want.
Okay, thank you so much. So my project is related, my solution is related to the use of rainwater harvesting to adapt the impacts of droughts and floods in the Teji district of Zambia. Next slide, please. So this just shows the presentation outline. Next slide, please. So currently, the first picture you can see, that's the current situation in the district called Kanzwa Ward. I mean, in a ward called Kanzwa Ward. So this is the water that's in the 3 wells that are actually in the zone. The water quality is quite bad. The second actually shows the dam that was constructed in the area that currently dries up as well during the dry season. So the wells and the dam also dry up during the dry season, and 30% of the water is actually lost through evaporation. And there is also another dam in the area that both of these dams actually have broken spillways, which actually reduces the capacity of the dams in the area. And then the third picture is based on our findings through our geological survey. We found that the area is highly concentrated with clay, which makes it hard for water to actually infiltrate in the ground, making it hard for most of the aquifers to be recharged fast enough. Next slide, please. Okay, it's taking time. So the next slide just shows a typical image of the current situation in the area. So they have 3 wells that do not recharge enough for the current population in the area, which is making it difficult for the community. So children and the women have to go there as early as 4 a.m. just to get enough water before it dries up, before other people actually come to collect water there. Next slide, please. So this community actually has a population of at least 1,798 people who are depending on 3 wells and 1 communal borehole at the clinic. I don't know, yeah. So the map shows the locations. So the clinic is a few kilometers from the school. So these people actually and teachers depend on the well at the school and some other community members. Next slide, please. So the next slide just shows the project based on the study that we had. So we were able to determine the ground flow and the surface flow of the water in the area. And it also shows the rock structures in the area and why it's quite hard for the water to actually be discharged fast enough in the wells and boreholes. So yeah, so basically that's what the map shows here in this picture. Next slide, please. So what's the proposed solution? So based on our analysis, what we saw was the great solution for this community is groundwater recharge. So through the creation of trenches to actually capture the surface runoff. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, there's this huge amount of clay in the area that actually prevents water from infiltrating fast enough before it can actually evaporate. So the idea was to replace this clay, sort of dig some artificial aquifers as well, to be able to replace this clay with other materials that can actually be found locally in the area. So replace it with limestone or sandstone that's actually more permeable and more porous for water to actually infiltrate in the ground and for them to actually be able to save more water for the dry season. Next slide, please. So based on the financial plan, currently we need about 12,400, which is quite cheap as compared to the proposal we had earlier on before we actually started the solutions lab, where we had suggested, no, they need a dam. But now after doing the assessment, in order to help this particular community, they'll need this sort of setup to be able to ensure that they can actually collect and store enough water at the end of the day. Next slide, please. So our business model is based on, of course, the first part of community engagement. We're highly emphasizing on involving the community, which we've done quite well. So we have support from the district commissioner, the member of parliament for the area. And then we sort of did part of the validation of this product because based on the assessments that we've carried out. Now it's what we need now is to establish this design for this prototype or actually implement the solution by developing this aquifer for this community. And if it works, it can be a good showcasing of a way in which we can actually get it upscaled into other areas and to have more of these done in the community to be able to suffice for the other community members. And then we want to ensure that we'll build the capacity of the community to be able to actually do this for themselves, whether it's on a small scale and also include other forms of rainwater harvesting that they can use on a small scale for their family use as well. And of course, we can't do without partnership and collaborations. We are willing to work with people who want to bring change and just help out the community, because when we were there, the school actually couldn't open because in Zambia, we're currently facing a cholera outbreak, and the school wasn't ready to open because they have no access to water. So implementing this solution and having this problem solved is actually going to help this community. Next slide, please. So the team, this just shows the team profile. We had to include, of course, technical experts in geology and, of course, hydrology to be able to establish the sort of concretize this solution and make sure that it's actually a good solution for this community. And of course, those need to engage marketing specialists to ensure that we can reach more people to be able to help communities like this actually adapt to the impacts of climate change. Yeah, next slide. I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear, very much. Shall we move? Do we have any questions? Any comments?
Yes, I have a question. Unfortunately, I can't see where to raise my hand from.
Oh, please go ahead.
Thank you very much for this innovation. How do you intend to remove the clay and replace it with more permeable substance? Thank you.
Okay, so basically the idea was to involve as many community members as possible to help do that. So basically it's just digging, but then if the layer is way too hard, because the clay gets really hard and compact, we have support from the council in the area who've sort of got the equipment that can actually be able to help us sort of structure and dig out the clay and be able to collect the permeable material and be able to replace that clay in the same aquifer as well. I hope that answered your question. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe a comment. You could actually add value to the clay so that it goes back into the project.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. Yeah, I think that could work actually. That could actually be included, and I'm sure you seem to have more knowledge on it, and I would definitely get in touch with you to hear more of what you think.
Please do.
We'll facilitate that. Thank you very much. So let's move on with Kiganira, please.
Yes, Gaston, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Perfectly, my friend. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Kiganira Ibrahim. I'm coming from Uganda. We can start with the starting page. I'm going to be presenting a continuation from where I presented in the first pitch. And on this level, I want to exhibit resilience and adaptive in the business sector, which I've attained in the second cohort here. So my innovation in the first place, to take back some people who are not here in the first pitch, was turning coffee waste into coffee pulps into a very richer biocomplete compost. Because research says about 23 million tons are produced from coffee waste, and it leads to a lot of degradation into the environmental sector. So in the heart of the coffee country in Uganda, this is where the story began, and we wanted to find a big solution to this big problem. We can continue. The major problem here was after developing everything, we are doing our biocomplete compost very well. People were not willing to pay for the product. Organization wanted their product maybe because it was cleaning their compounds, and farm also liked the technology, but after producing, no one was willing to pay, apart from my organization paying some tip when you train their staff, but farmers were not paying. So that produced the beginning problem in our research. Can continue. So the solution complexity, we made we did a research within the farmers, and we realized farmers we are not willing to pay because they were thinking, these products, we have the cow dung, we have the pulps, so why would we pay for this? So when we talked about the organization, no one was willing to pay. They are telling me, no, this is our pulp, so we can just give you a bit of allowance. So I realized that farmers are willing to pay for complexity. Farmers were not willing to pay for the solution that we are providing, but we are willing to pay for the complex something which they don't understand. That's where we went to go. Thank you. So in the collaboration, when we realized that farmers wanted to pay for complexity, we went to other organizations who had the same idea. We have a local organization called Vami Pro. It sells organic agro inputs within the country. So we partnered with them, and I realized they were selling their Vami compost at 5,000. This 5,000, that's 1 kilogram, which is quite very expensive compared to how much I was willing to sell mine. So what I did, I got some products from them, the vermicompost, then I went into my target market, then I started selling their products. When I sold their products, I realized farmers were willing to pay much money to the vermipro product than they were willing to pay for my product. So I realized that maybe the issue about why farmers are not paying because they realize my product is a common goal. So we decided to partner with these people. Continue. So after doing that market validation, it's the same thing I've explained in the last slide. I got money from the products I was selling from VermiPro. You can continue to the next slide. And that's where I thought maybe I could even go into business because I was making more money selling the products from VermiPro than the money I was getting from selling my own product. So there I thought maybe should I throw down my product and go into becoming a very successful trader. But because I had guidance from this class, I said, no, let me be resilient and continue with my product. We continue. Yes, for that, in the growth, when I continued with my product, then I made a decision that I am going to change my product. I also make it complex because I was selling just compost. After making compost, now I went and bought worms. After buying worms, now after making this compost, I feed it to worms to make a vermicompost. After selling it, composting it to worms, I make a product which is quite similar to the one of vermicompost, so that I can get more money from that. But the quite difference with this one, this is made from a coffee pulp, and also because it has already the microorganism which I sequestered them before when I was making it, it is more richer than the one for VermiPro. Then I stand a better chance to compete with them on the market since I already validated the market and I realize farmers are willing to pay for such a product. Continue. Yes, for my call for action, I want us to change this world. So today we can stand on a couch of widespread adoption because my market is already adopted. We just need some bit of support to continue with the farmers and continue with the project. Thank you so much. You can go to my next slide. It has some pictures. Yeah, that's how I've been working in the field with, those are my stations where I was producing this compost from, and that's where I'm going to doing the mass production when I go to the next level of using the earthworms. So these are the products which I'll be feeding to the earthworms, then I sell that one. Just a packaging and selling. Thank you so much. So that's just an improvement from where I ended in the last pitch. I just wanted to show you that I moved from the first cohort, and this is what I've done in the second cohort. I just wanted to show that trend and the resilience I went to do up to where I am. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you very much. Do you have any comments for Ibrahim from our friends? Otherwise, we can skip to Fiona. Are you ready, Fiona?
Yes, I am ready.
Great.
Hello, everyone. I'm Fiona Nalwega from Uganda, and I'm happy to present to you about our biodiesel cooking solution aimed at combating climate change in Uganda. Next slide, please. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, sorry, yeah. 95% of Ugandans rely on biomass and fossil fuels for cooking, a practice that has significantly contributed to greenhouse gases and deforestation. The adverse consequences are not only confined to the environment alone, they extend to gender inequality. Women who are predominantly undertaking the tasks of collecting firewood and cooking for longer times suffer from gender time poverty and respiratory issues from the indoor air pollution. And next slide, please. We have created a solution that is going to address the underlying issues. Could you help me please play the video for that demo?
Sorry, I just paused the time just to ask if you are hearing the video.
No, I cannot hear the video.
Okay.
A second
Now?
prototype.
Yes?
Yes, please. Now I can hear it. Type of the biodiesel cook stove. From prototype 1, we got customer feedback and have done also some market research to improve the solution to meet the end users' need. It has a 1 liter tank. When you put biodiesel, that liter can cook for 3 hours. You get 3 hours cooking time, and it has a battery that powers the fans. This product works with 2 principles. That is the fuel or biodiesel supply from the tank and air from the fan. From the tank, the fuel flows into the 2 chambers. We usually get the blue flame from the test we've done. For the quality of the flame, we use the fan to regulate. As you can see, with low air circulation, the flame is yellow, but when I increase here, I get a blue flame. This clean cooking solution will change the way people cook. It is cheap, affordable, and easy to use. Next slide, please. That's the end of the product demo. Yeah, based on the customer discovery surveys where we've done, we've been able to engage 30 respondents, out of which 60% were using charcoal. And that confirms our that there is potential and opportunity for the total addressable market, which is 13 million households in Uganda that are using biomass. And we have the opportunity to grow our share of market from 10,000 households when we expand or penetrate to the 100,000 households that are serviceable. Next slide, please. Our business model, we are looking at initially it was a circular economy, and from the surveys we've realized that respondents or customers were mainly influenced by the price factor, and we aim to make the cook stoves more affordable and focus on distribution of the biodiesel fuel to generate revenue. Also, we were able to answer the question of the availability of supply of biodiesel to the end users after getting the cook stoves. And we've blended the sourcing of feedstock. That is, we'll be using waste oil from households and then the non-edible vegetable oil from energy crops like palm kernel, jatropha, and castor oil. In regards to distribution, we are looking at door-to-door delivery of the cook stoves and working with agents to distribute the biodiesel. Our revenue streams, we are looking at the sale of biodiesel cook stoves and then the recurring revenue from the fuel sales. From the willingness to pay, insights most of the customers were willing to make monthly payments or installments, which validates the lease to own model, because again they are mainly influenced by the pricing for them to access the clean cooking solutions. Next slide, please. Oh, 1 minute. Oh my God. I need some more time, please. Our go-to-market strategy, again, pricing as being the main influencing factor. We are also looking at the marketing mix, product, price, place, and promotion. With product, we are looking at mainly functionality and quality, distribution channels, as I mentioned, and then promotion, advertising, and messaging to teach more people about how we can use biodiesel waste oil to get clean cooking solutions. Next slide, please. Our financial projections, we are looking at attaining and retaining 500 clients within the next 24 months and production of 65 liters of biodiesel per month, which will generate 7,000 sales revenue. Each cook stove is going for $30. Initially, we had anticipated $95, and then that was a lot for the end users. And also, we are projecting revenue from carbon credits, which will reinvest into the project. Next slide, please. Traction, we've had proof of concept. We have successfully developed and tested an effective clean energy cook stove and piloted with 6 early adopters. In addition, we've attained a strategic partner who's called Potco Limited that will do the supply of alternative feedstock from the energy crops. Next slide, please. Meet the team. We are a dynamic team of renewable energy and climate change enthusiasts, drawing from each other's passion, strength, and expertise from the clean energy space. I'm working with Jackie Nandaulan. She has worked with GIZ for 3 years and other solar companies and renewable energy companies in Uganda. We have Twaha, who's the mechanical engineer and mentors that we've worked with and have provided technical and business advice. We've worked with Grace Nanteza and engineer Bruno Golat. Next slide, please. Our investment ask, we are seeking $20,000 of investment to set up an advanced biodiesel and cookstove production facility. This will bring down the cost of production for the cookstoves and also will help us hire sales and marketing team. With the funding, we'll be able to scale the venture to reach our addressable market. So my call to action is that your investment in the biocooking solution will not only generate financial returns, but also make meaningful impact to address climate change, gender inequality, and clean energy access in Uganda. Please join us on this exciting journey towards a cleaner cooking revolution. Together, we can make a difference by building a greener, sustainable, and equitable future. Thank you.
Great, Fiona. Thank you very much. We see Eric.
Yes. Congratulations, Fiona, for the great presentation. I always like to see practical stuff that you can touch, and then so very good. So Grace is also, I don't know if she's an alumni. I think she's an alumni of the program, and yeah, it's good that she's also supporting. I know she's also at the GIZ in Uganda, and we also have former colleagues at the MOBS Makerere University Business School, Paul Nduhura, which were also in the team, also supporting innovation and entrepreneurship. So we can try to connect you to some maybe potential actors which can support you in Uganda. I sent in the page here 2 links, the Modern Energy Cooking Services Alliances. So it's a fund, it's a program on clean cooking from the UK government. So Ed Brown is also another, let's say, partner and friend leading that. Maybe you can have a look. I think they may have also some opportunity at least to scale and for funding or something like that. But then I had one question, the production of the biofuel. So you didn't say much about it. How is the process of the production? Because the appliances is one, but the intrants, so what is the, maybe if you can give some more information on the productions process of this biofuel, be interesting. If it's also in line with climate change still goal and so on.
Yeah, initially we first assessed the availability of waste oil, and from what we've gotten from the households, people use the oil till it's done. Yeah, like they always cook with a brown or black oil. They filter it, which isn't healthy. And for the restaurants we engaged, they still give the oil to the employees. which is still not very like hygienic for people to take, something that has been recycled over and over to make their food. So the goal was to collect this oil from these restaurants and clean it. The process involves adding methane or an alcohol into the oil, breaking it down with a catalyst, which is hydrogen peroxide, into esters, and finally getting biodiesel, which is the fuel, with a byproduct glycol. And during the product innovation, there was a question about what I would do with the glycerol. Then I found still Portugal does cosmetics, or they do soap things that won't be an issue, because I wanted a clean value chain for the oil that we get. In addition, we are looking at working with smallholder farmers who are growing these energy crops. This is going to integrate still forestry into our business model, because these trees can grow some until 7 years. Then jatropha you can grow for 3 months, which that we can start as a low-hanging fruit to get the feedstock for the oil. So if there is a surplus of the waste oil, we are able to supplement that with more of what the farmers will grow. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, even though I think it's still a very complex process with petrolyzers and so on, I think it's much, much more behind what you have just brilliantly presented in a few minutes. So there's a university also in Burkina Faso, 2IE, which is doing a lot of applied research on renewable energy. They have worked a lot on jatropha. I can try to connect the head of the division on renewable energy. There is also a friend, and they can also help in this, because I think it's the more challenging part, this processing and bringing the entrance. So, and you may need some more, let's say, research, some more in-depth knowledge, at least, to optimize the process and to keep the value chain clean. So a collaboration with university, with research centers on that could also be good. And I think at 2IE, they may also be they are doing this kind of work for quite long already. They may have also some solution that I can also connect you with this department there.
All right, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Great, my dear friends. We've come to an end of this second cohort of the Climate Solutions Lab. We are, I would say, Impulsouth is a very innovative project. And here is the space in which we experimented. We experimented in many ways. For the beginning, the strong South-South cooperation component, the work that we did together with Pumlani, someone that was, in my case, working in the innovation scene here in Latin America with social organizations, public leaders, also with entrepreneurs. Pumlani, by his side, bringing all the knowledge on the African continent about entrepreneurship, his very, very hard knowledge on theory, methodologies, and practical support for entrepreneurs, drinking straight from the fount of the research component from Impulsouth that is very strongly led by UNU, with collaboration Flaxo and of course the co-coordination of Avina. But here is the space where we go to the ground, as you saw in the solutions today, and we experiment with those methodologies, and we add a little grain of opportunity to those great leaders that you could hear today. People that are on their countries working with adaptation, mitigation of the climate crisis, and that are not only part of the solution, but I see as the future leaders of our generation working on getting us through the crazy challenges that we had. So I hope you guys enjoyed the open conversations, all the knowledge that Pounlani brought to us, but the open space to build collectively, but also focusing on the specifics of your solutions. And we'll always stress that, right, Pounlani? This is not the end. The demo day is a very important step for you to get tougher on presenting your ideas, on watching time, on talking with people that you never saw before, that can bring you opportunities, as Eric was doing right now, but that can also critique your solution so you can get better and better. Innovation is an iterative process, right? There's no end to it. And I'm so proud of your effort, but about how much you evolved with your solutions, with your speech, with your ideas. And I think this is much due to this collaborative process, during accessing different information in an open and safe space. And so I want to congratulate and say that it was an honor for me to not only you guys, to be with you guys in the last month, but with my friend Pounlani and Natalia and the whole team, Eric and our friends from Impulsouth in these 2 cohorts. I'll open to questions, comment, and etc. And then I will come again a little bit with what will come next from our side. But before giving it to our friend Jose Di Bella, let me say if Pounlani wants to add anything at this point, or we can go ahead. Pounlani.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say congratulations to everyone. Thanks, Castin, I think. Yeah, I mean, when you're sitting from where I'm sitting, I think, you know this project so well, and you're like, oh, but why didn't you say that? And and this and that, and I think a lot of you guys obviously needs to really be frank about your sustainability and commercial options, which we already discussed. I'm surprised people didn't feature that a lot, and just some of the amount of work, which interestingly in this process, we are quite ethnographic about it. So there's a lot of each innovator through the process has a lot of materials to showcase the power of the validation. Some people spoke to as many as 50 stakeholders, and they have a rich understanding of context and what they're doing. But if you don't say that in these platforms, you could appear less authentic, or like you're saying something that is generic in other contexts. So, but there's nothing I can tell you that I haven't told you already. For now, just happy that you guys are here, and hopefully you have the contents to explore acceleration opportunities. Eric mentioned some. There are many across the continent specific to your niche. We discussed all of this already. So yeah, so stay in touch. And don't be afraid to stay and reach out to UNU and Impulsouth and some of us. And I wish you all the best.
Please go ahead. Thanks, Pounlani. Please go ahead, Jose.
Thank you, Gaston. First of all, congratulations to everyone that presented today. Really interesting projects, and I think only people who starting up and spinning up a project, everyone who does it knows what it takes, and also the ability to reach to other stakeholders and form partnerships and really elevate your work. And I congratulate you on that. I'm working with Avina in developing a playbook or a toolkit for other initiatives to think about how to replicate the Solutions Lab model. And I'm reviewing a lot of the work that has been done before. This was an opportunity for me to see your projects. But I have just one kind of overall question that maybe some of you want to provide a few insights into. If you can mention one or two things and at one or two moments on the course of the implementation of your projects where you think the lab team and its work proved critical in helping you shape the idea, enhance the idea throughout the course, and also one or two things or moments where you think you would have benefited from something, a resource, support, advice, or connections, or something else that we might be missing. And this is something for us to reflect and maybe incorporate into that toolkit for other organizations to think as they engage with recipients such as yourself, and really paying attention to those critical moments in the trajectory. So if anyone can share something here, I'm going to also share my email, and feel free to reach out directly to me with your more in-depth reflections. But I would appreciate any insights on your end. And this is for the recipients. Thank you.
Don't be shy, guys. Please come.
Yeah, I can
Yes.
start. Akufuna from Zambia. For me, really, I've been involved in ideation, innovations for some time since childhood. But of course, it was my first ever experience to have a moment where I had a challenge talk from our colleagues on the call, Doc, of course, Mulani and Gaston, and the other colleagues on the call. So the challenge to think through the tools, I found it interesting, because usually I'll just rely on my own imaginations and keep the ideas in the mind and just talk from the mind. But I think when I started experiencing writing or jotting down idea or any information that I have on the document, in this case, my role, I think it gave me a different touch. And looking at what I've written and what I think usually actually gives me confidence to actually press on, but also the challenge to go back to the intended beneficiaries and let them share their feedback and let them tell you what the challenges is. Because many of the times as innovators, we end up just thinking a solution on behalf of everyone else, and then you think that is the right solution for them. So when I started engaging smallholder farmers, I actually learned even more about my idea. Initially, I just thought of creating a platform where I'm able to bridge indigenous knowledge, especially nature-based solutions and technology, and create access for that. But when I started listening to these farmers and many other stakeholders, I learned actually even more that there's need to address many other issues beyond what I thought earlier. And that helped shape the idea that I have. I can honestly say I'm more confident now than the first day when I started talking about my solution. And all I wish was, I thought 6 months was a long time, but now I would ask for more time to keep having a moment to listen from colleagues, including my peers who would ask questions in the side event or breakout rooms. And every time I explained about my idea, I learned something new, and that gave me confidence to press on. So mainly more time, if at all the resources allowed, to keep listening and shaping these ideas forward. But I think most importantly, what next after we have shared the ideas? Sometimes some of us may have the anxiety to go to those links that have been shared, and maybe you need to use a different language to get hold of those opportunities. But if there can be follow-up support through that, that can be welcome. And also the mentors, good job. I had a very challenging mentor, though I didn't really utilize her to the fullest, but I hope I was able to finish up the last 3 sessions I still have with her. But the first session alone, was like a month of mentorship sessions, which I really got to appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I took note of your comments. Yes, Eric.
Yes, I think maybe if I can also reflect back on these experiences, which is extremely better than the first round. So I think we learned a lot from the first round. The first graduate was very, very academic exercises. But we learned a lot. We had a lot of reflection with the graduate. What can we improve? It's a complex process. It's unique in its genre. So combining the theoretical knowledge, starting with the theoretical knowledge, the courses that we have developed, the student going through these master classes, finalizing, going into the incubation. I think looking at this output, I'm quite proud. So also here at the Institute, so we have a lot of capacity building program, the master program, and we always claim to also design innovative entrepreneurial education donate, which produce results. And when I look at the output here, I will say, I think we have, with the iteration, with Gaston, with Pumlani, with the team, we came up to a very good result, which can be now encompass the work that you are doing, Jose. So it's quite important. So at least to have, we may have another discussion with Gaston, Pumlani, and ourselves, at least to capture more or less this approach and to put it into good practices which can be replicated. So definitely the cohort this time was more practical, so was more result oriented, and I would say I'm quite happy on how the things went. One perspective would have been good to get. In the first cohort, we had we have separate climate solution lab. This time, I think we had the Latin American and the African student together. So how far this South-South exchange has been useful for you, if there were kind of interaction, because it was also one of the aim of the project to build the bridges between Global South, at least that maybe some experiences in Africa could be inspiring for other in Latin America. So not only for this project, but also for our cooperation with Avina. So we have another phase. I think Gaston will say one or two more words on the follow-up part of Impulsouth, which will more have a multiplicator effect, building on what we have done here. But it will be good also to know how far the connection, if it was useful. So with the other peers in Latin America, among the students, if it has materialized. And I will have also be curious to hear a bit about Bruce. I saw that Bruce is representing the IDSC. We have not been able to do that without the support and the funding of the IDSC, which is, I always say I was at the COP with Santiago and with Irene. I was always telling both of them, they are donors and donors. And when you have donors like IDSC, which understand also this practical orientation, which understand, which support the South-South collaboration, it's make your work much easier. So, and so maybe it will be good to hear also from him. So from the presentation that he got and the approach that we use, Alexandro was also here. So we have also follow-up collaboration with the PCCB. The idea was always to see how youth will contribute to this big climate actions scene with concrete solution. So, and how they could be connected to the NDC, to the NAP. So maybe it will be good to see also from the donor perspective what we have developed here, and so to get some input if we were on the right track, and yeah.
Great. So I'm taking that as an invitation to come in, but very briefly, I can't give justice to the richness of the ideas we've seen, but I can take a step back of what was the origin of this past couple of years of thinking through the Solutions Lab, and how the hypothesis was double. You've mentioned the one hypothesis of, is there something to be learned South-South? Is there something about the maturity of the climate crisis and solutions across Africa and across Latin America that creates an opportunity? I say a hypothesis because as a research-based organization, we put that out there as an assertion, and we're interested in seeing to what extent it comes. The presentation I've seen today seems very rooted in local context, each of you dealing with a very pragmatic innovation process that's rooted in a particular market. And so that's where I'm beginning to think, okay, maybe this is a little bit more like 1,000 flowers are blooming, and we're trying to create a garden, if you will. The other hypothesis, and I think you've spoken to this eloquently without intending to, is that we've reached a point when we don't need to wait for 11 months for the next UN climate conference, where a previous generation of efforts that involved Avina and others was very much about the capacity of the climate negotiators from your countries and being ready for the next round. But we've reached the Paris Agreement. We've reached the first global stocktake now. And the second hypothesis then is enough has happened that we just need to move on with it. And I think each of you have been identifying potential solutions that are beginning to find a market that have a particular need and innovate in the other 360 days where the world attention isn't focused on the next big climate negotiation. So keep at it. This is the hard work where you're building a future. I think we are continuing to remain engaged with some of the folks that have been around this table. So whether it's Alejandro and PCCB, UNU, Vina, those conversations are moving forward and will continue to be part of this larger effort to try and create an enabling ecosystem for your work moving forward. So with that, maybe I'll just echo the wonderful appreciation that you've already heard for each of your pitches today, and look forward to Eric, Florencia, everyone's sort of reflections on the Impulsouth experience up until now and where we are going moving forward. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much, Eric, and thank you very much, Bruce. I think, again, today was the day for us to hear about the solutions, very grounded on their territories and their impacts. But from what you guys brought, I think it's worth mentioning the two. Well, I love this analogy. So we are here connecting flowers to form this garden. I think this is beautiful, and that's what we heard a lot while we conducted the sessions of the Solutions Lab. Maybe some of you guys, Luz, I don't know, Nyaro or anyone could speak a little bit. How was this encounter of different cultures, different countries, right? Because what we've heard is much on that sense, how these similar challenges, similar cultural backgrounds with its difference can help them to design their solutions. So maybe someone could add a little bit more on that from the side of the participants, of course. And from our side, it's also interesting, the COP participation, this interface with the negotiators, this possibility of being there, of bringing this flower perspective to the negotiators, giving concrete examples of how solutions should be designed or disseminated, etc. I think we had great moments at the COP, not only at the PCCB, that is a space like built for those kind of initiatives, but Nyaro had a great participation on Madagascar Pavilion and others as well. So Luz, for example, but it would be great to hear you guys on that if you could, please.
Well, I can talk a little bit about my experience, Gaston, and I hope the girls can provide more ideas for what I'm going to say. But first of all, cultural interaction is really important. It was really interesting to interact with people from other part of the globe. For me, it was the first time interacting people from so far away. Know that we have almost the same challenges, even though we are in different countries. It's really like comforting and sometimes. But also it was like funny to think a lot of the similarities that we have, even though we are really different at the end. And the cultural aspect was really interesting. Even though it was a short time, I think it was a really good bond. We could connect in other forms. And then from a Latin America perspective, it's really important to know what are you doing in Africa, for example, for that. Because here we are so behind sometimes, and it's really important to see how are managing in other parts of the world and other ideas that may work here too at some point. So it was really interesting to see you guys all ideas and final pitch. It was really cool. And with the cup experience, well, it was amazing. It was another whole world for me from my experience, coming from a little country at the end. There is not a lot of our buildings or some stuff like that, but it was really cool. But overwhelming. At the end, it was overwhelming to see so many people interacting within each other and have to attend a meeting. But at the same time, we have like 5 meeting more that maybe we are interesting. And also my participation in Guatemala's pavilion was really interesting. It was the first time Guatemala was at a COP. So meeting the persons that are behind that in my country was like, put me back in perspective that at the end are people. And they are real people, not like putting them in a pedestal, but they are real people with really expectations. And sometimes because of how the things work in our country, the ideas don't reach them so easily. So to have that opportunity was really, I'm so grateful at the end. And the feedback and also of Impulsouth, meet Natalia, meet Gaston, also the day that we had that meeting and meet you all and talk with all that and how this works was like another perspective. At the end, it opened my mind to another ideas that I may have in the future because I'm really young. I'm still initiating in this world. So for me, it was really cool. Well, I think that's all. I don't want to miss another words that my peers could also have and intervene.
Gracias, Luz.
I just want to add something. Yeah, of course, it was amazing participating to COP, but one of the things that shocks me was that it was sad for me to find out that we had the same problems, we had the same issues, even though we live in different countries. It was very frustrating for me to find out that in many countries we still have struggles with food, with electricity, with energy. Or in another part of the world, in the north part, it's not a problem anymore. But when we talked during COP, we talked about our project. Luz talked about her project, as well as Nomai and Fiona, and it was very frustrating to find out that why are we still struggling with that? So I hope for my part, when I've been part of Impulsouth, it helped me realize that, of course, I'm not alone. There's a lot of people that are still working on those problems, but I think we need to act as quickly as possible, if I may say so. Of course, it's a project. It takes a long time to create a project, to implement it, and to scale it up. But the situation now is getting worse and worse, especially here in Madagascar. The situation, the political, economical, and social situation are very frustrating. So for this for my participation. I am now able to help some other young people who want to maybe to be part of Impulsouth next year, and to show them the way, if I may say that. And as Eric said before, when I did my first presentation for the first page, it was I don't know if you can see it, but I am two different person as the person I was when I did my first page, and it's because of you guys, because of all the talking and all the meetings. I learned so much things that I can't really talk about it here, Joseph, but definitely I'll send you an email and give you some feedback about the program, so you can maybe work on it. Yeah, but there's a lot of things. But the last thing I want to add is that for Madagascar especially, there's a lot of brilliant people here, but expect not talking about the financial or materials issues. We have a lot of issues talking to people, not because of English or because of the language barrier. It's just cultural. So maybe for the next cohort, we can have some learning how to express yourself, how to talk about you and be more fluent. Yeah, I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Yeah, Professor. Thank you very much, Niaro. Prof, you want to add something?
No, it's amazing. Niaro is talking about language. It's that you, Niaro, can speak like this. I remember during the sessions before the lab. I mean, I don't remember you speaking at all, Niaro. And now it's good to see you articulate yourself so well. I think just as people write, there's a few things that I wish to share, I guess, as someone was providing the materials and tools. First of all, I don't know where you guys get this idea that I'm a professor. I'm a professor. And then secondly, it's interesting. So when we were designing this, we were very clear of a couple of things. First, we never wanted to teach anybody anything. So that was principle number one, because you can't teach climate action or innovation. There's no material you can do. You can teach content like you did, but you can't teach action. But you can inspire and enable action. So we wanted, the first idea was, how do we use processes that are pull factors rather than push factors? And so there was one idea, and these guys will tell you there was never any teaching anything. In fact, we were very weak on content. What we were strong in was process and accountability. And I think that's the key, particularly in climate action, because your solution would only scale when you engage with more people. And it was amazing just how many people like Luz and all of you guys are so young that many of you had never innovated anything before, and now you want to solve climate change problems, which is just as messy and complex as it gets. So we're very aware that what we wanted to do was to inspire, and that doesn't come from content. It comes from building a community that is intentional and creates a safe space for people to was interesting. Some of you guys are 20, young, and then you now have to schedule meetings with the ministers and all these difficult people. and it was very, very, very interesting. But yeah, so we're very strong on process, very weak on content, very strong on accountability. And those principles are very important to air here. And I just wanted to share that, and also acknowledging the Francophone, Anglophone. So probably 2-3 months, and I can accept why this is short. So you have to give people permission to speak. And that is so understated. And in climate change, it's all about negotiations, right? And if you can't even allow young people to speak, how do you solve this? So it was quite interesting to see people innovating, many of you not even knowing the process, not having done it before, and now suddenly grand challenges and just throwing yourselves into that. So in a way, this was about bravery, giving permission, accountability, process, a few software, and then obviously, embedding mentorship in this, bringing the ecosystem in, all these things that I think even Bruce mentioned around how do you create an ecosystem for people to grow and have courage in this. So I just wanted to share that, just because it's amazing to see even Nairo speak at this platform like this. It's amazing. But yeah, those were some of the principles that we used in the implementation.
Thanks, my dear friend. Guys, I think with that strong message, I think we can end our session today. Next week we'll have a closing session with the guys just to wrap up on reports, to collect those learning lessons, to have access to their critics as well in more depth. So this can be of elements. So in the next steps of Impulsouth, we can think about, and I think this is very challenging, and I congratulate Avina, you for leading that, how we can build programs at scale, building train-to-trainers aspects and other strategies to scale this kind of program while maintaining what Punlani just said. A safe space with a lot of accountability, focused on process, moving together, a lot of dialogue, and perhaps so we can perhaps see more changes as we saw today. Thank you very much for spending those last 2 hours with us. For Bruce, Eric, Feliciano, Milena, Moses, Semuto, we're appreciated for your patience and for being with us up to the end of today. Thank you very much, guys.
Gaston, if you have 1 minute, just to the candidate on the next phase of Impulsouth. So we are currently working on the design of the Impulsouth tool, where the idea is to upscale. So we have a lot of experiences through the let's say, to engaging you directly as innovators, as solution provider. But what we are thinking from the next phase is more to scales. How can we support, how can we design institution to replicate what we did? And for that, we have different target audiences. The university will be one of our main target audiences, meaning the geographical faculty. How far could the expertise at the university in terms of researchers, in terms of students, will contribute to the UNF, to the national NDCs and NAPs. How far this focal point of the UNFCCC could tap on this potential of the university, the geographical faculty, to work toward this NDC NAP solution. The enterprise support organization, meaning technology and innovation hubs, so institutions like what we did with the incubation, and will also be one of the target audiences. How could a lot of innovators, you came through a specific channels. So meaning you knew already what you are doing is contributing to the global stock takes, to mitigation, but a lot of other innovators don't even have that in mind. So they are doing their innovation for survival necessities and so on, but they are not really connecting it to the national process. And we want to capacitate the enterprise support organization, the tech up, at least to take them through this journey and to go through, to contribute to this entire process. And on the other side, to see also how the process, the global discussion could also, like with global finance, some of you mentioned here, the carbon market, all these big funds, how it could also trickle down to innovators. So we will also have, with this enterprise support organization, we will design also another program, how they could act as multiplicators. I think your experiences as people who went through this process will be very helpful, so that we integrate in this training of trainer concept that we want to set up. So we will definitely come back to you, and at least in the design phase of the project, when we will do the different content, to get your input on this next phase of Impulsouth. So thank you once again, and didn't want to, I give Gaston have already closed and been in touch through the WhatsApp channel. So we have our WhatsApp channel to continue the exchange. Keep us updated on what you are doing, interesting stuff. And as our end, if we have interesting link and so on, we will use just the WhatsApp channel to continue the conversation.
Marvelous. Thank you very much, Eric. Thank you very much, you all. Have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Take care.